All right, guys, welcome back to Heel Report, presented by TarHeel247.com. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Tar Heel 24/7 publisher Andrew Jones and AJ. We're here to do a quick little look-ahead podcast to Carolina's exhibition basketball game against BYU on Friday night in Salt Lake City, 9 p.m. Eastern time, keyword there. Tip-off. That game's only going to be available streaming on ESPN Plus, at least from what I've seen. So a little bit trickier to watch that. I do have ESPN.
It was on regular ESPN.
No, see, I thought it was too, but if you go look at the ESPN for the game, it's ESPN Plus. I read another piece today saying that no, like you have to watch it on ESPN Plus. So I guess don't quote me on that, but everything that I've seen this morning, especially and read today, has been this game is on ESPN Plus. So
make sure I don't forget to find out, because it'll change a little bit about how I cover it.
Yes, for sure.
So I'll do more. I'll produce more in-game stuff if a lot of people can't see it. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes,
here we are.
99%.
Here we are behind the scenes working right now.
Yeah.
So I thought it was regular ESPN, but I
did too.
Noah's writing a how to watch it piece, so he'll have all that nailed down. I just need to make sure that I know when the game starts. So if I have to do more in-game to put out more stuff for everybody, then I will.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm looking at some more stuff now. You'll have to stream it on ESPN Plus, similar to the Charlotte football game earlier this year. That is what I'm seeing, and I don't think I'm wrong on that, because I've seen that from multiple different outlets now saying that. So
that's fascinating.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit more reporting there. It is kind of interesting when you look at it. Number 8 BYU. I know it's only an exhibition game, but still,
they're making a lot of money on that.
Yeah, I know. $500,000 especially for Carolina.
Just like the Utah Jazz owner is going to make a lot of money on this game.
Yeah, real quickly, I know, again, kind of a big-time preseason matchup. 8th-ranked BYU in the preseason poll. Carolina sneaking in at number 25. Before we dive into the matchup a little bit, my understanding, I know Rod Baxley at Failed Observer reported this too. Carolina getting, somewhere around $500,000 to play this game? Is that being confirmed?
Yeah, he told me that yesterday, and I haven't taken any time to look at it. He said he actually got the documents.
Okay.
So he FOIA'd the documents, and he got it, $500,000. The owner of the Jazz is also like the big booster for BYU. The reason AJ Devance is there is because this guy forked over cash. Yeah. So BYU's arena is bigger than the Jazz arena, and it's really, really nice. The Marriott Center is like 23,000. It's bigger than Dean Dome. It's a lot like the Dean Dome. It's very, very nice, and they draw well, but obviously it's his arena, so he's going to make money on concessions and parking, and it's sort of a showcase thing, and it gives BYU a little bit of a neutral site sort of feel and experience, and that was appealing to them. That was obviously appealing to Carolina. I love that now that you could play these games. I love that Hubert wants to play on the road each time. I would never play a home game if I were him, because it's
like Duke did.
So what now?
It's like Duke did on Tuesday night playing UCF.
Yeah, UCF, and although to Duke's credit, they got a lot of tough regular season games, so maybe it's they got a bunch of young dudes, a little different maybe.
Teaches them.
I don't know. I don't cover them anymore, so if I did, I would ask John, why home and not on the road. Hubert says we like to go on the road. It gets the team a chance to get out together, especially a newer team, so they can bond a little bit more. They get a vibe for travel. I think it's really important for guys like Evans and Vasar and Stevenson, even though he's been around it before, and so as a fan and living nearby. The transfers, Jonathan Powell, to give them a feel of what it's like to put that road uniform on, that iconic uniform, and be in front of opposing fans who are going to scream at you and boo. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really, really healthy experience, regardless of what happens on the court. So I know Hubert likes to play these on the road, and I would play them all. I guess they got to do one gate game, and they do it in-state, one where they played in-state non-Division I team, so they got Winston-Salem State coming in. I get that. You're helping in the program. You're giving your fans a chance to see it, and you're giving your team a dry run at home. I get all that. But eventually I think there's going to be a third exhibition game, and maybe even the secret scrimmage might come back where you can do 2 of these things in public and a secret scrimmage. I would never play at home. They've always gone on the road for the secret scrimmages, and I would do that moving forward because you benefit by the experience. And, oh, by the way, if you lose, it doesn't count. And they won last year. I mean, Seth Trimble was huge in that game. RJ didn't play. And I think they learned something about Cade Tyson that night. I think they learned something about Seth. I think they learned a few other things that night. And it helped them a lot because Memphis was a good team. The coaches agreed to play the game as if it was a regular season game, play the game to win. And I can't imagine Friday night being anything different. Play the game to win. There are going to be 20,000 people there. You don't want to treat them to an exhibition. You want to treat them to a game.
Yeah.
And BYU needs to play a game because they already lost. They played at Nebraska and lost. And they've got to get used to playing with the Bansa. So there's going to be a lot of really fascinating things to look at, and it's going to be a competitive environment. So I think we'll learn a little bit more Friday night than we would if it was just some regular throwaway exhibition.
Agreed, 100%. And always a plus when you can get all the benefits of going on the road, playing in an NBA arena, playing a good team, and also make $500,000 in the process. AJ, you can sign like a quarter of a player for that amount of money, man. You could sign like a fourth of a player with that.
You pay a walk-on. No, actually, yeah. I do know that the minimum for the scholarship guys is not that much. It's still great.
Yeah.
So like Jaden Young comes in, I don't need NIL money. My NIL is just putting on the uniform because if you read Noah's story, if you have not read Noah's story, oh my gosh, you've got to read. Carolina fans are going to love Jaden Young, regardless of what he does on the court this year. It's an awesome story. Noah talked to Jaden's father, amazing stuff about the whole process and him coming to Carolina, and a text that Jaden sent his dad, walking out of the locker room in the Dean Dome when he was on Virginia Tech's basketball team. You've got to read Noah's story to get that stuff. So yeah, so you could pay guys like him. He didn't want NIL money, but he's going to get it. He is getting it because the scholarship guys make half of what they're getting from BYU.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take
still a lot more than sports writers get, unless you're former sports writers who just bloviate on the air now.
Yeah, that is also very true. That is also very true.
A lot.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, good for him, man. Get it by any means necessary. Get it.
I'd work 1 year at that salary, and that'd be it.
Yeah. Oh, if I got $500,000 right now, I would probably vanish off the internet.
No, I'm talking about Stephen A. Like what he's making.
Oh, yeah, if I got that money,
I would do his job for a year, and you'd never see my face.
You would never see me or AJ again. Even if we had to split it 50-50, that money, we would be gone. You'd never see it.
I'd write a book every 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do, but you would never see me on the internet again. I'll put it that way. AJ, a lot of people, just to talk about some things to look for, I'm going to give you my biggest thing that I'm actually looking for.
Right.
And believe it or not, guys, it doesn't have anything to do with AJ DeBansta. I know this is the big talk. Caleb Wilson, kind of number 8 player this year, freshman coming in last year in that class, versus AJ DeBansta. Some have him as number 1. We're with 247, actually the number 2 overall player in the country on 247. I mean, it's like pretty much a tie at the top with the other guy that he's with, but still technically the number 2 player in the country in the 2025 class. But I like that matchup. Intrigued, to kind of see how Caleb Wilson gets on his first game and how AJ DeBansta looks. I'm not a BYU fan, but it'd be cool to see him play in person or see him play, I guess, whatever. But that's not what I'm most interested in. This is what I'm most interested in, AJ. Point guard position in the point guard battle here. How does UNC play at PG with Kyan Evans and Derek Dixon, who's had a lot of positive publicity coming out about him, especially this week in particular? But the reason I'm intrigued by this matchup and how this point guard situation goes on Friday night is because of who Baylor has. Robert Wright III, BYU has in Robert Wright III, a point guard who is a Baylor transfer, someone who, coming off a freshman season at Baylor, really had an impressive year, averaged 11.5 points a game, 4.2 assists, 2.1 boards as a freshman last year. Ended up starting over Duke transfer and 5th-year player Jeremy Roach as the season went on. He was also a Big 12 on the Big 12 all freshman team. And somebody, when you watch his game and read about him, who is considered kind of a true floor general, a true kind of point guard. And as we've talked about this offseason, one of the question marks about this Carolina team is what do they have at that? I'm not going to use the word point guard. I'll say the lead guard position. That's something that's been touting around a little bit. I'm curious how this matchup goes because you've got Kyan Evans, who's there's a little bit of a unknown about, who's not really seen as a massive assist guy or a massive kind of get everybody else involved kind of guy. He's a guy that'll tell you straight up, I like to score points. I enjoy doing that. And that is something he kind of excels in his game. And also seeing how a guy like Derek Dixon comes into the fold with a lot of positive publicity that he's been getting. So that matchup right there intrigues me because you've got a kind of guy in Wright who has a year of experience, who played really well at Baylor, who's at this new program, who is more of, again, that floor general type of point guard who can score but also get other teammates involved, going up against a Kyan Evans and Derek Dixon, who have played a combined 0 minutes at the University of North Carolina yet. So that is the position battle and maybe the thing that I'm going to be most intrigued about, because if Carolina struggles with him and Carolina struggles a little bit that guard position, and maybe you're kind of looking at it and you're like, man, I don't, they're scoring some, but they're, not being able to get other guys involved, and Carolina's offense maybe looks a little bit out of sorts. Maybe that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on going into the rest of the year. But that is probably the most intriguing matchup and thing that I'm going to be watching, not only because of who they have in him, but also because of still some of the lingering question marks about what is this kind of lead guard, point guard position look like and end up being for the Tar Heels this year. So anything in particular, I'm sure you could list 17 right now, but is there one or maybe two things in particular that you're looking forward or are very intrigued about seeing with this Carolina team on Friday night?
Staying on your point, Kyan went out of his way when we talked to him last month to say he's a point guard. He's working on his handle, working on getting people involved. So I expect to see someone,
right?
Well, but that had been a point of emphasis since he arrived in May. So it's a long,
but it's not maybe something that comes natural to him yet. Doesn't mean we
don't know,
but it's
we don't really know.
I mean, he was quoted in that same press conference being like, "Yeah, I like to score," right? It's something along those lines. Like,
I asked him to give a scouting report, and the first thing he went to was he could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could distribute, I could shoot, but most guys think of scoring first when they think of any kind of scouting report. I don't think Friday night's a referendum on anything, and anybody who makes a referendum on something, you need to kind of take a step back and exhale and start over again. Remember, Seth scored 33 at Memphis, and he averaged 11.5 over the season.
A lot of people did sell, as you mentioned, like Cade Tyson stock was just thrown out the window after that Memphis game. It was proven to be right, but still.
Seth scored 27, I think, against Dayton and was hugely responsible for the comeback. That game was in November. He didn't hit 20 again. So let's not make this a referendum on anything, but it is intel. And it's an opportunity to see some guys go up against some really good ones. I think the Caleb Wilson, AJ Debansa thing is important. I think it's important in the sense that they're peers. And when I talked to David Sisk about this, he says, look, Debansa is on another level. So some people are going to say, hey, wait a minute. They might say, boy, Caleb doesn't seem as good as we thought. Because he says Debansa, in some ways, better than Cooper Flagg. Might be more difficult to guard than Cooper Flagg. That he's that good. He thinks he's 100% number one player. Doesn't understand why some services had him at number two. But the difference is that Debansa is with a bunch of guys that appear, if you look at the Nebraska game, to not really know how to play with him yet. So they are on a massive learning curve as well. The Tar Heels are on a get-to-know-you basis, and that takes time as well. So even if Kyan doesn't look like a playmaker Friday night, it doesn't mean that when all this stuff keeps getting thrown out on the court together and each game it gets a little bit tighter and tighter and more connected, that he doesn't suddenly in December look like that point guard and a guy who can distribute. It takes time. Kobe White, everybody remembers how great he was as a freshman. He didn't firmly pass by Seventh Woods and take control until mid-late December. It was that game in the CBS Sports Classic in Chicago, and I talked to him in the locker room there after that game. They lost to Kentucky, and he started talking about what other guys didn't do. And that was when I finally realized, okay, Kobe has it. He's the dude now. Seventh needs to be pushed, be a distant reserve backup role, and Kobe needs 35 minutes a game. And that's what happened moving forward. And guess what? They were number one seed. So it takes time. And that was a freshman. Kyan's coming over from Colorado State. He didn't start the first 10 games last year. So people need to have patience with him. They need to have patience with Caleb Wilson. They need to have patience with everybody. Does the game get stressed and Seth try to do too much? Let's say they're down 10 or 12 and Seth start taking some crazy shots. Even if he does, it's on film. It's a point of conversation with Hubert and Lebo, and they can learn from it. So look at this as an opportunity to learn. Look at this as an opportunity to get it. Intel, it's an experiment. It's a basketball game, but it's an experiment to find out what you got. A little bit more. It's all about intel. And you want to win. You want to look good. You want to pound your chest. You want to go through, like last year, Carolina fans were saying all year long, boy, if we could only have that Memphis game as a real game. Because it was one of the shining moments for the team last year was an exhibition game in the middle of October. You don't want that to be the case this year. You want it to be education. I'm looking forward to all these matchups. The one that you pointed out at point guard, man, I am locked in on that already. I haven't even got on the plane yet. And I've been locked in on Devanza Wilson. Sometimes I don't fall. I'm not prey for stuff like that. I don't fall for those low-hanging fruit storylines. This is a low-hanging fruit storyline that's worth it because the likelihood is they aren't going to face each other again. So, hey, let's see where Caleb is right out of the gate. And I think we'll see a little bit of that. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a huge night for Intel. I think it should be a huge atmosphere. The diversion and getting away from the mess that is the football program, which is worse than we've been reporting. That's going to be nice to have that diversion. I'm glad basketball's here. I think this team has a chance to be pretty good, maybe better than pretty good. Carolina fans deserve it. They've been through a lot of crap for a while. They deserve to have a team that's fun and a team that wins, and where there's no discussion about the head coaches, what the temperature is on the head coach's seat. To me, that would be a great season to cover because our audience deserves it. And maybe some of us in the media deserve to have something that's a little bit of a coast.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, I agree.
Like anybody gives a crap about that.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of high hopes for this team too. I do think this team has a chance to be pretty dang good if things go to plan. But let me just get this straight, AJ, real quickly before we head out. So what you're saying is, I just want to make sure I'm not misinterpreting here, is if a guy like maybe Luka goes out and misses his first 2 threes, to just refrain from going on Twitter and being like, send him back to Montenegro. Like, let's not do that, right?
If he's 0 for 10 from 3 with 3 turnovers and commits 4 fouls, don't destroy him.
Okay.
And if he's 9 for 10 from 3 with 6 assists and no turnovers, and he gets a couple steals on defense, leave it alone. It's
don't build
fun.
a statue in front of the Smith Center for him quite yet. Is that what you're saying?
And that's sort of a snapshot of where some possible high-end stuff can be. And the alternative would be a snapshot of where the low end is.
Okay.
Just don't read too much into it. Enjoy it. Appreciate the fact that it's here. Give Hubert kudos for playing on the road and accepting this kind of challenge. When I first heard about it, I thought, wow, that's kind of gutsy. Go out there and do that. Not play a road game, but I mean, they're going 2 time zones.
I know.
That's a long travel, man. I just flew across country a few days ago. Now I'm going to fly 4/5 across country for this one. So I applaud everything about this, and I'm excited about every aspect of this. And I would imagine Carolina fans are as well. Just don't overreact. I'm not going to overreact. You're not going to overreact. There might be some things that tug at us to overreact over. Leave it alone. Just look at it as a moment in time. And if you want to use it as a point to gauge against later on, do so. That's fine. Don't overreact.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of intel. It's a small drop of intel that we can kind of take as we prepare for the regular season and get into the meat of the season when you really start to judge this team and learn what they're made about. So yes, I just wanted to clarify that because the biggest thing I remember about the Memphis exhibition was, oh my God, Cade Tyson is sending back to Belmont. And again, you might end up being right with that in certain situations, but let's just not do that in an exhibition game. Positive vibes only. That's what I want on Friday. Positive vibes only, no matter what happens. This is a first game for a team that has essentially one rotation player coming back that played a significant amount of minutes ever at Carolina and Seth Trimble. So I don't think it's maybe a revelation to think that, you know what, this team might not just like hit the ground running and hit it 100 miles per hour. And honestly, do you want that? Do you want Carolina to be playing its best basketball on October 23rd? I don't know about that. So
one last thing on this, and then we'll go. Because we've got to go. We got to cut this. We got stuff we have to hit on outside of this podcast. This will be the first time since a bunch of players threw up the night they lost to Auburn in the Sweet 16 in 2019 that there will not be an Armando Bacot or RJ Davis on the floor.
Yeah, no Roy Williams players on this team. Yeah.
I was in Kansas City. I heard Cam Johnson throwing up. I was in that locker room the whole 30 minutes it was open. Nasir Little drank 3 massive those energy replacement things. I can't remember. Under Armour.
Oh, like what's that? Body Armor, like Pedialyte kind of thing or something?
Yeah. He drank 3 of those, and they were big. They were like 20 ounces each because they were all sort of dehydrated and they were sick, and it was just
throw up right
quiet. There. You know, I'm surprised I didn't catch something being in that locker room, but I could hear Cam throwing up. So that night, is the last time Carolina took the floor in any kind of official capacity without RJ or Armando on the roster.
Wow. It's crazy to think. It feels like an eternity ago. It feels like a lifetime ago, man. A lifetime.
Yeah, that was before we moved into this house.
I mean, I think that was like my first year because I started in November 2018. Yeah, so that would have been like one of my first year with you. But I remember it. I was at a good amount of those games, especially towards the end of the year and everything. So, God, that feels like forever ago now. That's a great point, though. Good point and good thing to remember going to this one. There's a lot of newness with this team, especially with all these new guys coming in, some of which are coming from overseas and are still getting adjusted to living in America. So let's just refrain on selling stock on Friday night. Keep that stock.
Don't buy or sell. Just sit back and watch.
Keep it as it is, and let's just take it as a little bit of intel. We'll be here on guess God, it'll probably be close to Saturday morning before we do it on the Eastern time zone.
We got to get rolling
things afterwards too. So we got to go. Appreciate y'all guys watching as always. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you're looking forward to and what you think might happen on Friday night. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.